All right, have a listen to these two clips.
You're not going to make as much money as somebody that was more aggressive in most cases. If you're not going to take as much risk as somebody else, the chances are that you may not make as much as somebody else will.
So this is from Ken Moraif's June 19th radio infomercial. Essentially, I don't think this is even reading through the lines. He's basically now admitting that his sell strategy is, in his words, in most cases, going to underperform a buy-hold strategy. The chances are, if you have Moraif manage your money using his stop-loss strategy, chances are, his words, chances are, you're not going to make as much money as people who just sit and hold instead.
The chances are that you may not make as much as somebody else will.
So this is Ken Moraif doing damage control now that he has, at the moment, mistimed the market for the 5th time in a row. Yet for so long, I listened to him on the radio being suggestive that with his sell strategy, you're likely to, or his strategy is somehow designed to only lose 3% or only lose 5% each time he mistimes the market. But then when he finally guesses right, you avert a big loss and that more than makes up for it. Then you realize a net gain. And in particular, I'm referring to clips of him talking from my June 30th, 2019 video about Moraif.
It's a trade-off. Would you rather lose the 3% or 57%? I mean, it's just a trade-off. And then the other thing is, suppose, as you said, you messed up, Randy. Let's say we mess up. How many times will we have to mess up if each time we mess up it's a 3% loss compared to one 57%er? It would take about 20 mess-ups, right? So we have a lot of runway before we get to the 20 mess-up.
Famous last words. But so his new talking point argument, his new strategy is basically that it's okay if we mistime the market here and there as long as we don't suffer another 2008.
If you're retired and your investments, in our view, are not able to withstand large losses, it could change your life.
But what he doesn't talk about is that market timing mishaps can add up. Then over time, in Moraif's case, over the last 11 years since 2009, you wind up with the equivalent of a market crash or even worse. If you mistime the market repeatedly, you are accumulating what is essentially a large loss relative to buy and hold, because everything is relative. We're talking about one versus the other. We're talking about the value of buy hold versus Moraif's buy hold and sell strategy. If you repeatedly miss out on gains, it's the same damn thing as suffering a buy and hold stock market loss like 2008. Your portfolio is much lower than it should be because you kept panicking and selling.
So in our view, it is okay to miss out on some gains.
Some gains, just some gains. Would you describe missing out on 85% as some gains?
Now, if you're 20 years old and you want to be a gunslinger or daredevil, go for it.
And right there, he's suggesting that if you employ buy-hold strategy with the stock, just the stock portion of your portfolio, because you also own bonds, you mitigate stock market risk with bonds. But if you employ a buy-hold strategy and you're nearing or at retirement, you're taking on this crazy risk. You're acting like a gunslinger, like a young guy in his 20s. He's trying to suggest that market timing is a proper course of action for a retiree, when in fact, trying to time the market can be like being a gunslinger. But he doesn't talk about that, or he downplays it.
It's the turtle and the hare. The hare is going to run faster at certain times than the turtle does. It's a fact, but we're okay with that.
And so here he's contradicting what he said earlier about buy-hold winning in most cases. Now, with this anecdote, he's suggesting that his buy, hold, and sell strategy, aka the turtle, wins in the end. So he's all over the place. But just to show you how risky market timing can be, if you've been a Moraif client since 2009, you suffered about a 46% loss if you followed his market timing calls. And that's according to my estimates and assumptions, since Moraif is not Gibbs compliant. And you can pause the video and look at some of the variables that are at play here. Another way of looking at it, you've missed out on 85% in missed gains had you simply employed a simple buy, hold, and do nothing strategy. By the way, as of last Friday, Moraif has said that he only has 10% in the market and 90% sitting on the sidelines in a money market account, I guess. Just for demonstration purposes, for simplicity, let's assume that Moraif still had 100% sitting on the sidelines. Okay, 100%. Then, if Moraif sits and waits even longer and the stock market continues to go up just another 7.8%, the sit and do nothing buy hold strategy will then become, according to my estimates and assumptions, about 100% more than Moraif's market timing strategy since 2009. And you might think, well, how is that? If right now buy hold is winning by about 85.66%, 85% is about 15% short of 100%. How does it only take 7.8% to create 15% more distance? Yeah, this is the compounding effect of having a large bucket of money because it has grown and grown versus what has floundered and remains a small bucket of money. So now it only takes about 8% to increase by 15%. So for you Moraif clients who bought into a sell strategy back in 2009, all of Moraif's market timing mishaps are starting to really cause things to spiral out of control and become amplified. Now, 11 years later, you could have been a lot richer, but you're not. And so just to demonstrate further, if the buy-hold strategy becomes 100% more than Moraif's market timing strategy, and assuming Moraif never mistimed the markets again, making matters even worse, for every dollar the stock market goes up, as a Moraif client, you would gain $1. But meanwhile, the buy-hold strategy goes up $2. This is what can happen if you miss out on market gains repeatedly. It can make a huge difference 10, 12, 15 years down the road. Again, the risk of attempting to time the market. It's not just about the risk of being in the market. There's also a flip side to consider. Being out of the market can also be dangerous to your financial future. And this is something that Moraif, either I haven't heard him talk about it or he doesn't explain it in any meaningful detail and with any abundance of care. He does the complete opposite as far as I can tell. He spends all day defending market timing and attacking the strategy of buy, hold, and do nothing. And that's a disservice to his clients and prospective clients who may listen to his radio show. He should be educating people about the dangers of market timing so that they can make an educated decision about whether or not they want to attempt to time the market in the first place. And the crazy thing is that I'll bet that most of his clients don't even know how much money they've lost, or if you want to call it missed out on gains. Because Moraif, at least on the radio, doesn't disclose the numbers. And he instead comes up with deceptive anecdotes, as far as I'm concerned, to mask what is really happening under the hood. And so you couple his actual performance along with his management fees and the compounding effects of it all, and it has become an absolute unmitigated disaster for any client who's been on board with his market timing strategy since 2009.